what do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, presented as always by Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. Make Pure Options part of your election night plan. Do not sit there watching cable news on Tuesday night without some edibles, a pre-roll, whatever your choice of Pure Options might be. Go to pureoptions.com, find the location nearest you. You can download the app. You can sign up for their Pure Perks loyalty program. They have some great deals going on right now at all their locations throughout Michigan, 3 in the Lansing area, in Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Detroit. Again, pureoptions.com, and make Tuesday night a little less stressful. And our Monday night show, brought to you by, Monday afternoon show, brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. I'm telling you right now, I don't know which is my favorite. The cinnamon graham flannel or the salmon graham flannel that I wear. I have some others, but those two, right now, both of them make me look like a Hallmark leading man. You too can look like a Hallmark leading man at a Muskox flannel. Go to gomuskox.com today, and if you use the promo code FIXITINPOST, all one word, for Couch and the Rube listeners, you get $15 off your flannel purchase. You can look great, be as comfortable as you can possibly be, and this is flannel season. If you look outside right now, the ability to walk outside and just be comfortable without a jacket yet, just enjoying looking good and feeling good in a Muskox flannel. Again, go muskox.com. Jason, how you doing, brother?
Graham.
Things
Graham.
Ikuna Yaba Gita Jared Goff.
What's up, buddy? You beautiful, sweet bastard.
It always cracks me. I love Mondays after the Lions win a big game, after MSU does what they just did, because
whatever.
Your mood is so different than the rest of our listenership.
Well, the mood wasn't great Saturday, that's for sure, but we get over that quickly when we have the Detroit Lions. What a team. What a time to be alive. It's unbelievable. But yeah, man. By the way, I figured out how I'm going to vote.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Whoever texts me last. As I walk into that polling booth tomorrow in Ovid, I think I'm going to go maybe around 11 o'clock a.m. Whoever texts me before I go in there, the last one I've received. I actually got a call from Donald Trump today. It said it on the caller ID, but I didn't answer.
Speaking of reasons.
So that's how I'm going to vote.
Speaking of reasons to have a Muskox flannel, if you want to look neutral going into a voting booth, Muskox, you can be going, especially if you're in a place like Ovid, you can
look classy.
You can go.
And like you belong.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody will have a clue.
What side of Ovid do they live on wearing those flannels? What is that? The fancy Ovids.
We ought to have an Ovid Muskox. That ought to be something we work with Muskox to do. The Ovid, we'll call it. The weekend was definitely, if you're a Michigan State or Michigan fan, with the Lions game on top of that, a swing. The thing about the Lions is it's not even that big a deal anymore right now, because you have faith in it. You can trust it. It just is what it is.
Yeah, But now, is the world going to end on Wednesday, though? That's what everybody's freaking out about. That was great and all, but now we have to figure out the election and all this crazy shit.
Before the Lions win a Super Bowl, the world ends?
Right, man. We have to make sure we calm down before we at least get one of these. Right?
Well, I don't think the actual inauguration. Dude, it's fair. It would be.
And I'm going to Vegas this week. Jesus, if the world ends, it's a great spot to be in.
That's. A couple quick show update. It's a 2-show week. The bye week for Michigan State football. Jason's going to be in Vegas, so we'll do another show Wednesday night. I know Michigan State.
I do the show live from there, but I don't know if anybody wants that.
No, I don't.
Some Aunt Karen stories coming out of that.
Well, actually, I would be there for that. That would be incredible. A new character added to Couch and the Rube.
Annoyed Rube in Vegas while he's got to do the show. We already have to do those timeshare. We have to do one timeshare thing. It's like 2 hours, and I'm going to be like, let's cut this. Let's make it like an hour, a tight hour.
So is there anything they could say to you to actually make you want to purchase a
Yes,
timeshare?
I love time. Dude, T's dad gets into the timeshare thing. You always hear those commercials like, oh, you want me to buy your timeshare? Like, and I'm like, what's wrong with a timeshare? People are getting strapped to these things. We have used T's dad's timeshare before. So they are glorious. I don't know what the ripoff is, but he uses them a lot and tries to talk us into them all the time. Like, Sam, they're like $20,000.
Well, I think if you get suckered into something you can't afford, that's part of the ripoff.
Oh,
right.
Oh, yeah.
So we
can afford it. I think we could afford it.
Okay.
It's not a bad deal. But I'm just saying, do we have to go through 2 hours of shit? Let's dive into it. Let's see what it would take. We could be upfront and honest with each other.
So you're saying
kind of like the election. Let's do it, the election. Let's do it for these fucking timeshares. Let's just cut the bullshit. Let's get to it.
It's kind of like I tell our listeners with their hot takes and takes.
Right.
Keep it tight. Not all of them
tight.
Listen.
Have one go a little crazy if you want, but let's just keep it tight.
Yeah. Not all of them hit the mark with tight. We're going to work on that definition. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Maybe one of the hosts can take that into account as well. And, 9 minutes. No, I was talking about me.
I don't think so. That's a shot. Shots fired. Taking strays over here. Absolutely. Fucking everybody masturbates. All right. Should we dig in? I'll go first. I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I should probably.
Caw. Instead of boo, boo, caw.
Caw.
All right. There's a lot we're going to get into.
Should have hired Signetti. Okay, next one.
There's a lot we're going to get into in the Michigan State football game with Jonathan Smith. There's some Alan Haller thoughts.
You're going hoops?
No, not going hoops.
Okay.
Because if you're listening live or whenever, Monday night, there's an MSU basketball game, so I don't want to do too much hoops today.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. They've got to fix the line of scrimmage in this program. That's got to be the focus.
Way too hot.
That's got to be the focus. Yeah, you need a playmaker at quarterback. They got that. The young kid developing, but he'd be fine. Mm-hmm. You have to win up front. The other upgrades, you need them. You need to get better everywhere throughout the program. You need speed on the outside, obviously, to win at the highest level in college football. You got a guy like Nick Marsh, but you could use more. I understand that. But what happened on Saturday against Indiana was an absolute whipping at the line of scrimmage. And if you put Aiden Childs on Indiana, he'd be the darling of college football. He might still have some turnovers because he's a young guy and he does that. He would be just fine. What happened at the line of scrimmage is something you cannot overcome as a college football team. There is just no way to beat it. And so that has to be, I talk about that idea of like an NIL program just for offensive linemen and make that the identity of your program.
One of your best takes.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think Curtis Rourke from Indiana would look good behind that Michigan State offensive line with that pressure. It's not.
Patrick Mahomes, Aiden Mahomes would not look good.
It is good. It is. That is it. The line is it. And that, whatever they do in this offseason, whatever their focus as they move forward, and there are lots of things, you got to have quarterback play. You see that at Michigan. They don't have it. They're not very good. You got to have all that stuff. But what has held the program back and continues to hold the program back and continues to lead to more and more frustrating days like this for Michigan State fans and is the fact that they just don't win up front. And if you have a line, if you win on both sides of the ball, this day won't happen. You may lose games once in a while, but 47-10 at home to Indiana won't happen. Giving up 47 straight points won't happen. Your student section playing Uno in the front row late in the game, that won't happen if you fix the line of scrimmage, whatever that takes, at all costs. That has to become your focus as a program to fix it up there.
But in defense of the Uno, you could really play Uno at any one of these games you go to live. Like the Lions game last night at Lambeau, it's like we went there in 2023. Dude, there was times I forgot what play was going on because there was so many timeouts, this, timeouts, that, commercial break, that. So I don't blame them for the Uno. But
yeah, if you're gonna shit on fans for doing something else at a football game, make more than half the football game about football,
right?
Because the timeouts and all the shit, it's not a good product. The fact that people are there for any of this.
It's amazing.
Is unbelievable. It is complete shit. And I'm not talking about because it was 47-10. I'm talking about as an entertainment product.
Because being at home rules. It's really one of the best things ever.
Yeah, it's not good. So yeah.
But I tweeted out yesterday about the Michigan game and how that stung. But I got to say, Graham, I think the Indiana game, the way it happened Saturday, was worse than the Michigan game. And I hope this stains in the brain of Jonathan Smith of, listen, man, you got to get guys in here. And the guys that you have, why aren't you guys using them? I still need an explanation why Nick Marsh was not used over and over again in that Michigan game. And by the way, why not throw to him 1 out of every 3 times when you have the ball? Why not? It can't be any worse. That second quarter, 50 yards, 2 interceptions. I just don't know how you score 10 points. You look competent in the first quarter, and you look like you've just thrown that all out the window. And that's on the coaching staff. You can blame Childs all you want, but you saw Schuster when he gets in there, and you can insert quarterback here. Any Shedeur Sanders, you put him in behind that offensive line, he's running for his fucking life and going to look terrible. I know the turnovers were Childs, but they're brutal. But listen, wait till 2025. Jonathan Smith, I hope to God you get some guys to come in here because he's going to need them. Because that was embarrassing. I don't care any which way you put it. You want Cignetti or you don't, whatever. But that was an embarrassment. First year, second year, whenever year.
Yep. And it felt like a continuation of the Michigan week. And it felt like, you lose.
But you showed it in the first quarter. You showed that you were up 10-0.
I mean, I'm talking about the overall feeling.
Yeah.
No, they've had 2 games in a row where they've looked great.
But if they came out flat in the first quarter and didn't do any of that and just got trucked, then I'd be like, all right, well, you guys are in a terrible spot. But that, you actually looked like you could do it.
Well, there are 2 ways to look at this from a coaching criticism perspective. One is the first quarters where they've been great the last 2 weeks. It's when they have time to script, they can overcome their deficiencies. Yeah. And then when the other team's able to adjust and they've got to do...
But you can't overcome your deficiencies when you're running slow developing fucking running plays when you know going into that game, Lindgren, that you have a terrible offensive line. So you look at me and you tell everybody else at these press conferences why you're running slow developing plays. I guess what? Next year you got a badass offensive line because of this Graham Couch NIL collective for the O-line. You start pushing people around, then you run slow developing plays on 3rd and 1. I'll deal with it. But right now, how can you look anybody in the face right now and run those plays?
Yeah, and I understand that the offensive line had some success the last couple of weeks, so maybe they didn't anticipate it. But once the game gets going, you see what's happening up front.
Right.
And you've got to be able to adapt to that. Now, look, I don't know that there was anything the coaches could have done to win this game. Like, you can talk about it, like they were just outclassed entirely. And that's a different conversation. And it felt like
But I got to say it, 10-0. I was thinking like, okay,
I did
here
too.
we go.
I did too. I thought they
That's
had
what I
chance.
hate everything about that 10-0 lead because it gave me false hope and it actually put my face back in it. That's why I'm even angrier today about that loss. And I'm angrier than the Michigan loss.
There are things you can put on Jonathan Smith and his staff, and the last 2 games have not been their best moment, certainly. But I think one of the things that's a struggle right now for MSU fans is you can't hold the last 3 years against Jonathan Smith. You can hold this year against him. And the accumulation of how you feel as a fan isn't on him. Like, it's understandable. He's got to understand it. He's got to understand where you're coming from. But the feelings you have are multi-year layered, right? And that's why this is so much worse. And you've lived how MSU got to this point. And he's only had a little bit of time with his hands to sort of work on this and fix it. And
he's had enough time, though.
He's
had a lot of time. No, seriously, I understand, and we're waiting towards next year. But to where your program is, and to not make those changes, but to not make those game in, game out changes of getting your guys. Nick Marsh is the best, one of the best football players you have, and to not get that guy the ball on a consistent basis, no matter how bad your program is absurd to me.
It was a huge mistake against Michigan. I think huge mistake against Michigan.
Any game.
And what's weird is you had all this improvement. Like, Iowa has beaten their last 3 opponents other than Michigan State, like 122-40. They've scored 40 points in every single game. And Michigan State looks so good against them. And I understand Iowa's not that good a team.
Kirk Ferentz, lifetime contract. Give it to him.
I'm just saying the improvement, the showing against Iowa wasn't like it wasn't like when they beat Iowa, that was the beginning of Iowa falling apart. Iowa picked right up to where they were before that. They beat a team that was playing well and has played well since, is all I'm saying. So it is strange. Now, the Indiana aspect of this is an incredible story. And I got into this in the column, the whole year ones things from Gus Malzahn to some of the great year twos and how often it's not lasting. There is situational. There's a reason they happen. Like, you look at Michigan State under Mel Tucker in 2021, year 2, the great year. It was Kenneth Walker, great usage of the transfer portal, like Cignetti did, coming from a place where he had all those guys on an 11-win team from a year ago. NFL guys. Now, how he got them at James Madison is a different question. That's impressive because they've got a guy on their defensive end. Their defensive end is going to play in the NFL, and Michigan State doesn't have that guy, and that's a problem. But you don't hire a coach for year one. If Michigan State had hired 63-year-old Curt Cignetti, people would have been up in arms last December. They would have. People now would have loved that.
Old guy.
Yeah, and granted, he might. And he might be I think he's got a chance to be a really good hire for Indiana, but I don't think year one is necessarily indicative of everything. And it is occasionally. There are a couple guys, and I mentioned the name Urban Meyer. Yes, He has won everywhere, and year one's been indicative. Nick Saban has not won really anywhere in year one, and has not been indicative of who he is a coach. A lot of guys have the year. P.J. Fleck had it in year 3, didn't really sustain. Brett Bielema had it in year 2, didn't really sustain. Mel Tucker had it in year 2 because what he had was 2 NFL receivers who I saw have incredible days today or Sunday. What day is it? Incredible days Sunday, and then he had Kenneth Walker, and so he had great, and they got to 8-0. And then when they lost one of those receivers and the defense got beat up, the other thing is the injury component to Michigan State. And I'm not saying they're just not as healthy as Indiana. They had vibes of the Purdue loss when they were 8-0, and they all of a sudden just didn't have the secondary to hold up. They were playing 2 freshmen at safety. They were playing backups. Their secondary was depleted, which made it worse, exacerbated what was already lopsided. But all that being said, that game was over at halftime at 21-10, and you could tell it because the Hoosiers had flipped it, and it was not competitive at the line of scrimmage in the second quarter. And that has to be the focus. That's how you get rid of that. That's how you get rid of last week. That's how you don't have weeks like this, 8-day stretches where you lose a game that was winnable against Michigan. You get, punched or kicked or whatever the hell happened after the game. You lose it again with the Big Ten ruling, and then you lose badly at home, 47-10, giving up 47 straight to India. You don't want to ever have that 8-day stretch again in Michigan State football if you're Jonathan Smith. You have to do everything you can, and it is an upfront issue. Yeah, you can be critical of the coaching staff. People can talk about, well, I don't think he's the guy, and we're going to get into that. But if you already don't know he's the guy, then just leave for 3 or 4 years because he's not going to be let go for 3 or 4. Like, it would have to go bad for a while. Then just don't.
There'd have to be a phone call involved.
Do something else. Yeah, do something else with your Saturdays because you're just gonna suffer if you're not willing to have some hope. But the big thing is they've got to fix it up front. And
but I think that you can also have hope and also criticize this staff and go, what the hell are we doing here? Yeah.
100%.
Go out there, play hard, stick your cleats so far up their asses that they've got to use the cleats to brush their teeth with.
Well, Lance was talking about yesterday's game against the Packers. That was not a Michigan State related, just FYI. I got to say, Graham, I'm getting used to this. It's absolutely fun to have people text you and go, what's up with your pregame? What's up with your guys today? You trust your guys? And I have to say, watching to see that weather report, if we would have Aiden Hutchinson yesterday, I'm talking kneecap lock kind of gambling day yesterday. I would have thrown on that game. Because if you slow it down for us on the defensive side to where our linebackers, they don't have to show any speed whatsoever, I think that we can beat any team in the NFL right now. And that was a fun game to watch. Absolutely. I know it was only a 10-point win, but that game was never in doubt. We went into Green Bay again, stole their soul. I love you, Green Bay fans. You're great. I love you. You're nice people. But we own that place now. And what's fantastic.
This is where Vegas, and I always say Vegas doesn't know, but this is where Vegas does get it wrong. You brought up the lock of the day thing. Like if Aiden Hutchinson was playing, he is maybe half a point to the line top, right?
I mean, if the Lions didn't get a sack at all yesterday. It's still disruptive.
How much would the Vegas line be? More.
I don't think any.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So he actually does impact the game a ton, but he doesn't impact the line. That's where Vegas gets it wrong and gives you opportunities. If he had been around. So I'm just saying, just know that. Vegas does have his flaws.
And to watch Matt LaFleur absolutely panic yesterday when your quarterback is playing hurt first and foremost.
100%.
And then you put him out in the rain. And then there's the pick six, right? It happens. And then you try to get him back out there before the half to do what? Just kneel the ball and get the fuck out of the half. These guys, don't you want to live for another week? What week is it? What are we on? Week 9? Whatever? I mean, you have a whole nother pretty much season, LaFleur. I think Green Bay, it was just really shocking to see a guy like LaFleur. I respect him. I think he's a good young coach. But to watch him panic and watch Green Bay panic, I'm going like, this is going to be the great. Let's start protecting our guys, by the way, too. Because I know Graham says it's crazy, but bench guys until week 10. But I'm sorry, but when we start getting these little blowouts in games that we know that there's no chance this other team's coming back, why don't we just start, pulling some guys out a little bit? But great victory yesterday. I'm speechless. This team makes me speechless.
Yeah, I think the Lions do have to start thinking about. I think they've proven that they're going to be, unless there's a bad injury. We know, obviously Goff or something could change the season.
Watch your mouth.
But the way they're playing right now, they've proven they are probably the best team in the NFC, and one of the top 2 or 3 teams in football, right? And so the question now,
scared of no one,
right? absolutely shouldn't be scared of one, but they need to start thinking about those matchups. So you get to a point as a team where when you beat Tennessee, big whoop, you're supposed to beat Tennessee. You have to get to a point where how do you match up with Philadelphia? How do you match up with San Francisco? How do you match up with the Baltimore Ravens? How do you match up with the Buffalo Bills? Like these are how do you match up with the Kansas City Chiefs? Those are like the teams you need to start considering. Everything you do in terms of looking at your roster is the trade deadline is a day away. Like how do you match up? If you match up fine, great. If you're ready, great. But don't look at like if you look at the team you beat the day before and you think this is great, that's fine, but that's not who you're going to be playing in the NFC Championship. Now, Green Bay may get it together and might actually be there, but what I mean is you've got to start thinking bigger. And I'm not saying they're not thinking this. This is not me saying.
And that talks about the trade deadline as well, because I understand that we've held it together the past couple of weeks without Hutchinson so far, but man, I tell you what, when we play some of these other teams to not have some speed at linebacker, we got to get some pass rush. We can beat the Packers in terrible weather without a pass rush, but not many other teams.
And when you start looking at the top teams, like the teams I just mentioned, and Mahomes is sort of a different class, different guy, he's going to do a lot of things, but all the other quarterbacks of the top teams, other than maybe, we'll see what San Francisco becomes if they get truly healthy, if they get themselves back. But when you look at certainly at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, and Buffalo, there is QB mobility there, and guys who can, you got to, do you have the linebackers? Do you have the team to deal with those quarterbacks and those teams?
No, but we have an offense that can score 40.
Then maybe you're fine.
Anyone.
But is it worth also trying to have a better defense against it? That's all I'm saying is I would only be concerned if I were the Lions from this point forward, how you match up against those teams.
And I think if Brad Holmes doesn't make a move, I just think it's too big of a risk. I think he has to make some sort of move to say, here, we made a move. Maybe it doesn't work out. You still make the NFC Championship game. You make the Super Bowl, right? But if you don't do either one of those, you don't make a move, then there's going to be some heat in the offseason. So.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the Tarek Skubal contract thing. If Tarek Skubal gets a 5-year, $300 million contract from the Tigers and he blows out his arm, nobody is going to blame the Tigers.
No.
It's like, this is the move. It shows us you're serious. It gives you a chance. Bad luck can happen. You can get the pass rusher, and he can get hurt. You can have another injury somewhere. You could run into the worst. You run into a day where the opposing quarterback just can't miss. Something goes wrong. There's a nasty fumble.
Or the refs are ass.
The refs could be ass.
That Branch call. I mean, listen, I know that Branch kind of led there, but we have to change this. We cannot kick a guy like Brian Branch. That goes for either side. I wouldn't want a Packer guy getting kicked out for that. Like, at least throw a warning out there. I know Branch, maybe his reputation precedes him, but I don't know. To have it called out of nowhere, New York just goes, all of a sudden he's out and you got to call down to the field to stop the play. Just a little suspect on that.
No, I'm 100% with you. Do you have any other takes you want to get into?
We have to get into our boy James Franklin.
Okay.
On this show, I did say, I know I break all the rules on here and lie sometimes. I'm a hypocrite. But saying I would never bet on a James Franklin team again. And I did. And it's the last time for sure. I swear it's the last time. Because if James Franklin can't get it done at Happy Valley against Ohio State, they were dying to give that game to Penn State, I don't know when James is going to get it done. And the fact that you look at his record, and it's pretty crazy that the guy has a record that he does, and if Kirk Ferentz can get a lifetime contract, you would think James Franklin would do the same when he wins like he does in Happy Valley. But at some point, you have to go, this guy just can't get us over the edge.
Some of the play calling, you talk about play calling, people getting frustrated with Michigan State. The stuff at the goal line, where you're just running it into, massive guys from Ohio State, and they just knew it was coming. Like, how do you not have better plays, a better goal line play? You've been thinking about this
dive.
You've been thinking about this matchup. This is, we talk about matchups that define programs. For Penn State, it is Ohio State. It's the team they can't get past. Penn State is right there. They're going to be in the playoff. Like, look at the rest of their schedule. They might even get another shot at this. It's beautiful that this stuff isn't completely determining of your whole season one Saturday, but it didn't look like they were ready for the moment.
I know how we say must win a lot, but honestly, that was a must win game for James Franklin.
Well, no.
Is he going to get fired tomorrow? No. But I just feel like, when are you going to do it? People are just lose faith until you're gone. And I just feel like in that case, you're at home, everything was going your way. You got to win that game, man.
It'll be interesting because they're going to get in the playoff. They might get to the quarterfinals level because I think they might be home for their first game, and so then you're going to face a top 4 type team or whatever in the quarterfinals, and they're good enough to win on a given day. They don't have a lot of explosive players. I don't know. I watch them play, and I'm always like, why are they so good? They're decent at the line of scrimmage. I don't know. I think Ohio
recruits really well.
I think Ohio State's back, though.
And one last thing, Tom Brady. Tom Brady did the game yesterday, the Lions-Packers game, so I got a full 3 hours of Tom Brady. I just think Tom Brady has been handled poorly. Like, whoever handles his media and everything has given him bad advice. His commercials are absolutely awful. For a guy that's his first year, $300 million to do what a lot of other guys do really, really well, and to come in and have the attitude he does, and he just tries too hard, I feel. He just tries to say, kind of like Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman will just tell you words to fill until Joe Buck kind of takes it from there and then gives you the play call, which Troy has been good as one does, right? I think Troy's been doing it a long time. Does he give you any information? I think Tony Romo gives you some sort of information. Tom Brady, and then you got the Raiders ownership, and we don't, like, what does that mean? He can't interview coaches? I just think, honestly, he should just cut bait with this whole announcing thing. Because I think Tom Brady needs to go. Why don't you just do it like Tom Brady? You're cool. Like, just start telling us things. And if you don't have anything to say, don't feel like you got to jump in. And I think that's what people are telling him. Like, you got to just give information. See what you're seeing. Say what you're seeing or something like that.
Yeah, there's no insight.
Because it is week 9. We did say earlier on in the season, like, I'm sure when Collinsworth started, it's like he wasn't the best, but you got to give these guys time. I just think that Brady has so many things outside of announcing that he wants to do. Like, dude, just give it up and just go be Tom Brady somewhere. Maybe do a podcast that no one will listen to,
or own the Raiders.
Yeah, but own the Raiders. But I'm saying, but these guys all have to be involved. So do a podcast where you talk football. Then you can get it out of your system. Because I just think that it's just not working. Going into it, you should have just signed a 1-year, $1 million deal. I want to learn this from the inside out and do this the right way. And then people would have had more empathy for him, I think.
Yeah. No, I just don't think he's very good right now. I think part of it is that he can't do the things other broadcasters can. And people can say, well, he probably doesn't need that. He's Tom Brady. Let me tell you this. When you go unprepared into something, when you don't, like, there are lots of times I don't use a quote after a conversation with a source or being in the locker room or like Michigan State basketball or whatever. But the knowledge I get from there, from some of the conversations that don't ever show up directly on the page, and your ability to analyze things and understand what's going on with a player and other, that stuff matters. And if he's not going to be 2 feet in and can't be 2 feet in because of his quarterback or because of his ownership affiliation, then he's got. I think he should.
And just relax and be Tom Brady, dude. Is this how you act when you watch games with the fellas? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I remember thinking during the game, I wish like Aikman and Buck were doing the game yesterday. So, all right, are we ready to dig into these listener hot takes?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Eric Schultz up first. Number 1, we learned more about Indiana than we did MSU. Sucks to get destroyed like that, but it shouldn't change the season expectations. 2, Michigan State basketball season hasn't even started yet, and Couch is already driving me nuts with how he's talking about the team and program.
Yeah, buckle up, Eric. It's going to get worse now.
Oh, my God. Booker getting pushed around already?
Yeah. No,
classic Couch.
Yeah, game tonight. I don't want to get too much in. We got a little bit of basketball we'll do here. It's stuff that's big picture stuff because I do think this team is going to be.
We're not going to break it down. We're going to break down
well,
the tape.
Wednesday show we'll get into the game and what we learned from this.
I know. I just like a broader view. Like you just can't even just talk about it for a minute.
No, we can. But I mean,
are they playing tonight, Monmouth?
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, most people who are listening to the show right now, as they're listening to the show, have already seen the Michigan State basketball game, which is my concern. It was unbelievable. I mean, those 47 points from Jaden Akins were something.
Sad to see Booker get pushed around like that.
Yeah, no. And what a devastating injury. No, I'm just kidding. What do I even say? We'll fix that in post.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
Frank is always around,
That you're right about the Indiana part of this, though. Indiana was impressive. One of the things I asked, and you could hear it in Signetti's voice afterwards, he was asked about his team, and he was talking about how old they were and just how determined they were. And I mean, he's got the right guys, and it's a perfect storm in a lot of ways, and I think he's a really good coach. Now, some people think he's kind of a maniacal ass, too, but we'll see what they think of him in 3-4 years. But when you're winning, nobody cares. And
a maniacal ass?
Well,
not very nice.
I mean, they're up 40-10, and Michigan State's got like 4 freshmen in the secondary in.
So stop it.
And he's still throwing, because that's the way college
with
football.
With his hands on his shoulders.
And that's the way college football is set up, though.
Stop it.
But I think I kept asking Michigan State about how Indiana stacked up to Oregon and Ohio State for 2 reasons. One, I was curious, but also, not for my own gambling purposes later on or anything like that. But I was also curious because I wanted to know how bad was it. I was trying to get a sense. I was trying to find ways into the conversation about how bad that really was by Michigan State. For example, if they're every bit as good as Oregon or Ohio State, then what we saw, as bad as it was, as embarrassing as it is because Indiana's on the chest and that brand does not come with the same cachet as others, is not good. It's still an awful week, but it's different than if you lose to an average team 47-10, right? So, but by all accounts, again, I can't wait to see Indiana, Ohio State. I can't wait to see how they stack up with a team that has some physical advantages against them, if they can protect, if they can win enough at the line of scrimmage, if all those seasoned guys and I'm looking forward to the game, and I like the Indiana story. These guys have not had a 9-win season since 1967. You think you've suffered as a football fan base? Indiana is perpetually suffering, so they're having their moment.
Dominic next, number 1. I am now financially invested in the Lions. I will also be adopting them until the Bears fire #the Floose. Good luck with that, man. 2, if Nick Marsh transfers, I'm going to quit my job to work at the Chicago Defender and exclusively write opinion pieces about the Lansing columnist who told me my school was only 1 year away every year and quelled his detractors by pushing weed on them constantly. No live reads.
Let me tell you about
3, Alan Haller made the safe hire because he was scared of Urban. It's a fact with sourcing that even the LSJ would take to print. Tom's cool going 19-14 the rest of his career and barely using the portal. Even our hockey run was ended by Michigan. Fuck everything. It's all bullshit, Graham. And bonus, Alan Haller strikes me as someone who returns library books on time, figures out his restaurant tip by using an app, orders a Zima at the bar, and asks a stripper if she has let Jesus Christ into her heart, and refuses to share his Peacock password with family and friends.
Dominic, you're a beautiful man. Yeah. Zima really dates you when you talk about Zima. Did you drink Zima when you were 19?
No.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be found dead with a Zima. We tried it. It was terrible.
It wasn't great.
Right?
Yeah, it was
more for the ladies back in the day.
But before I really liked beer,
wine coolers.
Before I liked beer, Zima was it was almost like a gateway beer. It was like something into alcohol,
Gateway to push someone down the steps. Am I right?
No, didn't say that at all. But what I love about Dominic is just the things he listens to. The fact the Chicago Defender reference is pretty.
Or telling a stripper that if she's let Jesus Christ into her heart. I just thought of Alan Haller at Omar's doing that. It's great.
I don't know how to respond to these. They're very funny, but I don't know where to respond. Maybe we'll go number 3. The safe hire because he was scared of her. I don't. One thing I do not find Alan Haller to be somebody who's scared of many uncomfortable situations or something like. I do not think he wanted Urban Meyer, and so I don't think he made that choice and went after him. But that is, I don't think he was scared of it, because obviously, to some people, that would have been a splash that they would have loved.
And he not scared of Herb, but scared of the possibilities of what could come with having him in your program. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I don't. He just didn't want. I have no problem with it, and it's year 1 under Jonathan Smith. I get that right now. Like this week, these 8 games looked like. This is a really bad stretch, and it's who you lost to and how you lose to these 2 teams, and it's the fact that coaching felt like a part of it, and then the worst case scenario. And a lot of this season for Michigan State has involved worst case scenarios. The scheduling has been just brutal, right? But Indiana is a year 1 program under another coach that looks like that. So there's this direct comparison, even if the situations are a little different.
Jebediah, the Lions are a wagon. MSU football needs to become a wagon for the remainder of the season, or else the fans will be doing much worse than bringing Uno to the game long term. And bonus, this show will make Jason want to cancel the Hot Take Show again. No, let hoop season happen.
I think if we had done this show unedited in terms of the hot takes, I think Jason would have been on
a long time ago.
But I think I've edited this. It's still got everybody's stuff in there, and there's a lot of meat to get into. But I don't think Jason will walk out of here.
Ken Chu, Aiden Childs was fine until the pass protection broke down, and once Brantley went down, MSU had no chance. And bonus, standard time is ass.
It doesn't get dark earlier. It's nice to get that extra hour. But you're right with Childs. I think, and this happens to me, it happens to all of us, but especially those of us who don't play the game. the difference being protected as a quarterback makes. I mean, you know who's ass without pass protection or has been for most of his career? Jared Goff, who may win the MVP of the league. Most quarterbacks are complete ass without decent protection.
Well, and the line situation has helped Goff too.
100%. But I'm just saying, like, and Brantley was having such a good start to that game, and he's got a swagger
so was everybody.
to him.
It was 10-0. It was great.
Yeah, but then he got hurt, and that made it. I mean, he had made
and then 47
3 or 4
points happened. Yeah. So Brantley's the MVP. That's what we're saying.
If I'm Brantley, I'm walking in for more NIL money tomorrow. I'm like, this is what happens when I don't play.
MCV, not including the freshmen who haven't played, there are no more than 3 Division I offensive linemen on MSU's roster. And baked. They either need to get rid of daylight savings time or add 2 more fallbacks so everyone keeps getting an extra hour's sleep 3 times a year.
All right, so let me ask you this. Would you take it getting dark at 3 p.m.?
No.
Eventually, so you got the extra hour sleep 3 times a year?
No.
But then once in like March or April, then we sprung it forward and you lose 3 hours sleep? No. Yeah, no, I don't think it's worth it.
I know you're just spitballing here.
I'm just
you
thinking.
Didn't thought about it much because it was ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Never do that. At 3 o'clock, dark.
That's what it's like out in Maine and places. I mean, you go out east. I mean, we're at the edge of we're on the west side of the time zone, so it's not so bad here. But you go to Chicago and the central time zone or Maine in the east, it gets dark early.
Moneybag, losing the way MSU did on Saturday is a real reason to be concerned for the future, especially with our high school recruiting being basically non-existent.
I mean, I think it's fine to be concerned about, like, you shouldn't leave the game and feel good. Like, if you leave that game and you're just going, yippee-ki-yay, it's year 1, who the hell cares? Then
that's pure options.
Then let us know which pure options train you're on, because that's doing good work. But I just think and it's easy to overreact to these things, and I understand that it wasn't promising for any part of it, and it's hard for me to get there in year 1 of any coach who hasn't had, with 61 new players, who had the fire drill they had to put together a roster last year. And I understand Cignetti's done it, and I understand that comparison. Now, he had 13 guys and the right guys, and if Jonathan Smith also had an NFL defensive end who came with him from Oregon State, and his quarterback was 2-3 years older, maybe it's different. I still would rather in a quarterback situation be where Michigan State is long term, I think, but that said, the question is, do you care about the long term if you get to have the year Indiana's having? Point being, I do not. There's nothing that's happened yet that makes me go, boy, these guys don't know how to coach entirely. They're going to lose a team. They can't run a program. They've done it once before at Oregon State. We saw out of the bye how well they played against Iowa. Like, this is an important stretch though, because they are, I do think, losing confidence in their fan base, and that's not something you ever want to do. And you don't ever want to season a spiral, especially in the recruiting, the portal era, when you're trying to convince people to join your program. So I get the sense of concern. I think the next game is important, how they respond again. If they come out of a bye, out of this nasty stretch, and look really good against Illinois again, and the team still seems invested, and they play well, okay, there are elements of those things are just as promising as this was concerning, right? I mean, I'm not telling you not to be concerned or upset or
but you have
frustrated.
to be if all of a sudden after that Michigan game where you're like, wait a minute, where is this team at head-wise, especially with this rivalry, and then a first-year coach in Indiana, Cignetti, comes in and whips your ass. I mean, why is it not? I get it. We have to, because patience is always talked about.
But okay, but I'm just saying, if you're upset about Cignetti, like
not upset, but it's like, goddamn, all right, so he's coming into our house and whipping our ass.
100%.
I'm not going to go ho hum. Let's go see what's the next game's all about. No, let's talk about this. You guys aren't using Marsh enough and all this other shit. It's okay to go game in, game out. I'm not asking for Smith to be fired, but it's okay to be like, wait, what's going on here? No,
right. The criticism is I think, is fair, can be warranted. Yeah. But it should be, micro over macro in terms of big picture versus what they did in a given game. Yeah. And if you think that something that wasn't done in a given game is indicative or becomes a habit, and that's concerning, then that absolutely needs to be addressed.
We give credit to too many people that fly off the handle and go fire this guy and fire this guy, to whereas let's just talk about it. And yeah, maybe you might have to in a couple of years or whatever. But anyway, David Witcher, I'm sorry, worry. We were too optimistic about a guy who was 500 at Oregon State, some of his buddies, and a DC from Minnesota.
Yeah, well, they were like the beginning of Oregon State was a pretty dreadful situation. At the end, they were a pretty solid program. And the big difference is what they've got to do, the offensive line play. I mean, that at the end, the way they ran the ball at Oregon State in his last couple of years is what you have to get to, right? And that I think it's 100% fair, too, to question the ceiling of a Jonathan Smith program because we never saw what the ceiling was at Oregon State. And if that was the ceiling, I think some people wouldn't be satisfied with that. And I would understand that. But I also think it's pretty fair to also still trust his ability to build and develop a program based on the fact that he's done it at the FBS level.
Craig Molden next. If MSU has a comparable schedule next fall, we will only win one more game. How can we win with the losses of Miller, Newman, Baldwin, Lynch, Adams, Foster, Bogle, Dowse, Dunnigan, Hansen, the whole team pretty much he names. I truly don't see the guys to replace all these guys in the roster currently, and the portal is completely hit or miss. So even if Childs improves significantly, there is so much unknown and improvement around him, it won't make a difference, unfortunately.
Yeah, but most of those guys are portal guys, hit and miss guys. Lynch Adams, Bogle.
Got to keep trying those guys.
Yeah, that's part of the deal.
What it's about now.
The difference between this year and last year is they are recruiting now, and they should be managing ideas of guys who might transfer. That you should have a list. You should be paying attention out there to what might be happening in the transfer world versus getting a job, trying to hang on to a roster like last. Like it's a totally different situation than a year ago. Like this ought to be a better offseason for this staff. It ought to be an easier offseason for this staff. They ought to be able to have the initiative last year was, put together the best roster you can in 3 weeks and hang on to as many guys as you can, and it was a fire drill. It was, and I thought they did an okay job considering. And granted, it did not look great Saturday, and Indiana's a lot better, and that's just a hard thing for people to get their heads around. But I don't think what they lose this year is anything they can't. They just lost 47-10 to Indiana at home and to anybody at home. Like, there's nobody on this roster who's irreplaceable if you're losing that badly, especially at the line of scrimmage. Skylar
Verdon, I'm annoyed by all those people saying we should have hired Cignetti. For one, it's still too early to say how it will work long term. And two, those same people saying we should have hired him are all the ones who said any group of five coach was below MSU.
Yeah, there's a lot. Look at the guy at TCU who took him to the playoff in the national championship game in year one, and they're below 500 since. The world is full of these situations.
But what is wrong with saying maybe we should have hired Cignetti, who's 9-0, right? It's not like he's 5-4. You're like, well, he's kind of turning that program around. The dude is 9-0 and came in and blew your doors off. So I feel like it's okay to go, I don't know, maybe we should
But there's all sorts of hindsight. So in hindsight, what I'm saying is, in hindsight, when Nick Saban was making like $1 million a year in 1999, in hindsight, what he was actually worth to Michigan State was $20 million a year, even in 2000, and they should have paid that. In hindsight, you just didn't know that was going to happen. In hindsight, there are lots of things to know. There are lots of, there are all sorts of.
But that hindsight, you would have said a year after Saban was gone, like we should have paid him.
Look, Cignetti's a great coach. I'm not knocking Cignetti.
I'm not saying that you should champion for it, but if you're sitting there having a conversation and you're going, God damn, Indiana's coach in there 9-0 and he kicked our ass. No, maybe we should have hired him. It's an okay thing to talk about as well.
100%. And there are about in 2022, 2 years, not this last cycle, but a year before, there were 10 Power 5 jobs that changed hands, and all of them should have hired Cignetti. Now, one of them is doing better than Cignetti's doing at Indiana.
Sure.
And so there are a lot of, pretty much the entire group of ADs in this country should be tarred and feathered for fucking this up. The guy was 52-9 at James Madison.
But the other 10, fan bases should be like, man, Cignetti, maybe we should have hired him.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
That's fair.
It's crazy.
It's fair, but understand, it's not just an MSU thing. He's just a great coach, and hindsight is
he may bomb next year. Who knows? But as of right now, we're just talking after getting your face kicked in by Indiana. You're just like, Neurotic Pants. Cignetti may be a better coach than Smith, but Smith isn't a chapped asshole with a punchable face either.
Which there's something to that.
Where is it?
I do.
What wrong one?
He's got a stupid-looking face.
Too many of these on this board. Benjen, MSU won't win 5 games. All season win bets will lose. Thanksgiving week game gets 18,000 people. Jonathan Smith will be on the hot seat.
It's a depressing take there, Mr. Benjen. A couple things. One, I still think with the Purdue game, like if you've got a ticket with 5, over 5, you're in relatively good shape for a push at the very worst. And I still think, like if you told me right now, bazooka to the head, you've got to bet, Michigan State. You've got to bet Michigan State to either win. Like the over/under for the rest of their season is 1.5.
Bazooka time.
What would you do if somebody said you got to bet one way or another? So they got Illinois.
I would say, hey, what's that, and then run.
They got Illinois on the road. Then they've got Purdue at home, and then Rutgers at home. What would you do?
I would take it.
You take over.
Over.
Yeah, I would too. I would too.
I don't trust Bielema.
I think there is a. Right now, I would put it, and granted, they may be so battered, and we may find out some of these injuries are worse than they thought, and that could make all of this really difficult.
Even so,
but if Childs is healthy, and I think we saw what happens when he's not, it doesn't get better when Childs is healthy.
No, I think Tommy Schuster could get in there and
what was funny about Tommy Schuster is at one point I thought he was banged up too, and I
he's faking an injury.
If I'm writing that guy's NIL deal, it says this: we're going to pay you 6 figures to come here, be a backup, get to play for Michigan State, just be a veteran presence.
Yep.
But if you have to play, unless you lose a limb, you have to stay in the game. You can live the great college life, but you got to be in there. That's part of the deal.
It's a weird NDA there, Diddy.
I'm just saying. That would be my play. But
you think Schuster sees that offensive line? He's like, you know what, guys, my back. I got this thing.
I would take the over too. I think there's a 80 to 90% chance they beat Purdue. I think it's above 50% with Rutgers at home if Childs and there's enough health. And I think it's not far below 50% in Illinois, which just lost to Minnesota, both coming off a bye on the road in a place that won't have the juice it had for the Michigan game. I think if you add the percentages up, Michigan State getting to over 1.5 would still be the play.
Owen, next. Everyone talk about how great MSU's NIL is, so that needs to be put to use in the trenches immediately this season. Biggest difference between Smith's Oregon State team and this one.
Yep, and they know it. Look, they're not watching a different game than you. They're not going.
Sometimes
look, the
Marsh involved.
The Marsh stuff sometimes feels a little too. Yeah, and there were a couple
long developing run plays,
toss sweeps that you go.
You feel like you watch tape of your O-line. I don't know if we're going to get any slow developing run plays, guys, for the rest of the year. Right? Can I raise my hand in the meeting and go, hey, I don't think any slow developing run plays on 3rd and short at all, ever.
And you, by the way, you can become a legend as a coach at Michigan State and still be infuriating because Mark D'Antonio did that. I mean, just ask Dominic. I mean, what's that?
Most of it was at the end there, but
Yeah, there were some jet sweeps that were running some good years that were like, what's going on here?
Alex Mayer, number 1, the MSU O-line NIL plan is 100% the move. 2, this coaching staff has shown no ability to make in-game adjustments. And 3, the size of the Big Ten and unbalanced scheduling is ass.
Couple good ones here from Alex, and the second part about the inability to make adjustments. One of the things that the players kept saying, especially Maverick Hansen, is that they've got iPads too. In other words, they're making adjustments too. Their adjustments just seem to be a lot better. But it does, like, at some point, I would love to talk to. The problem is the coaches have to be a little careful about throwing their talent under the bus. Like, they can talk about execution, and that's something D'Antonio used to do late in his career. They're just not executing at a high enough level. Yeah, but think about this. If me and you went out there and tried to guard Nick Marsh, it would go poorly, right? But at the end of the day, a coach trying to keep our confidence, keep our heads in it, would say, yeah, they just didn't execute. Yeah, but we're also slow as shit. That's part of the problem. So I do think, one of the things I do wonder is when I would put it this way, I would love to see that game replayed with the 2 coaching staffs having the opposite teams. Like, I would love to see what it looked like. Kurt Cignetti coaching that Michigan State team and Jonathan Smith coaching that Indiana team.
Fire Cignetti. What was that?
Look at it. So, I mean, maybe it would be better for MSU with Cignetti, and maybe it wouldn't be as dominant with Jonathan Smith and his staff. I'm just saying I would like to see the ability to make adjustments when you have the advantages. And frankly, the job is to get the most out of what you have, and they have not done that. So it's not like they've done their job well. I'm not saying that.
But hear me out. You have the offensive line you have, and then you see on 3rd and 1, you have a slow developing run play. At halftime, I'm going to come to you and go, Graham, why are we having a slow developing run play when we're not going to tell the media this, that our O-line is ass?
There's one specific one that I think of that I think, why did they? Yeah, it was in the first half. It was a key moment. I don't get it. I'm 100%.
It's worse than the jet sweep.
I'm 100% with you. And
I think it's worse.
And number 3, by the way, the unbalanced scheduling and the size of the Big Ten, it is ass. It's ass that Michigan State and Indiana can play schedules that different. And it's also ass that Indiana, and I'm grateful they play Ohio State, but they don't play Oregon or Penn State. Like, I get that that's going to happen in a league this size, but the league's just too big. The league sucks. It would be better if it was 2 different leagues and you only played half the teams, but you knew who you were playing and you were trying to actually win a league rather than just win your schedule. And that's what's happened right now. And it's not great. And I think they're figuring this out everywhere. That there are a lot of things about it that don't actually add up.
Sports Guy 1919. The YouTube TV multi-view is one of the greatest inventions ever. However, Graham could not enjoy it if he had a YouTube TV because of his 32-inch TV.
I have a 55-inch television when Elizabeth lets me watch it. And I have a 32-inch TV that I usually walk with in the treadmill.
But you have a monitor.
No, it's a 32-inch TV. No,
is that a real TV?
It's a 32-inch TV. It just looks small on a camera. The camera doesn't do it justice. Like iPhone is not a sponsor, so I'll throw them under the bus. They have a great camera, but whatever in that particular angle, from a high-angle view, it does not.
iPhone, step your fucking game up and get a good camera on Couch's phone so we can take a picture of his shitty TV.
Let's go, Steve Jobs.
Step it up. He's dead. Go. Professor Jace Richardson will be a starter before the end of the season and then get drafted higher than Xavier Booker. See what you're doing? All because you said Booker was getting pushed around. Now the Professor is somebody who has reasonable, sensible takes. I do think, I don't know that Jace Richardson becomes a starter this year, but I do think he is going to be, we've just seen it repeatedly now, that he is a spark guy, and not just a pleasant surprise spark, like a guy they need to be a spark. A guy that when he steps in will continuously, and he's a freshman, he'll have some games that aren't as great, but a guy that when he comes in, you're like, that helps. It's not just, sometimes you got guys coming off the bench, it's like, well, how long can they survive without this other guy on the floor, that he will be additive. And the Booker thing, though, the thing about, Jace is, 6'3", Booker 6'11", and with that skill, I still think there are things about, like, I'm not convinced Booker's an NBA guy next year anymore. But I am still convinced that his draft profile is something that the modern NBA likes. Are you trying to break the fan base down and then build them back up or something? What is this tactic you're doing?
We're talking hot. I don't know.
No.
I do a 2-hour show answering people's hot takes. We have to talk here. This gets me into trouble.
That's true.
Luckily, we haven't anything about Khalil Mullings yet. That's the only thing.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Have you apologized yet?
There's somebody in my Twitter remarks that just responds to every post and says, "Apologize. It's time to apologize." It's like
I love the commitment and passion.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It's not logical, but it's incredible.
Spartan 18770. Number 1, the fact that fans were playing Uno during the game shows us the state of the program. Low energy, high turnovers. 2, the fact that fans were playing Uno during the game shows how unserious some of us are as a fan base. Low support, high complaints. 3, Halloween needs to be moved to the last Saturday of July. Kids will get to pillage the neighborhoods till 10 p.m. in sunny mid-70-degree weather, and parents will get to pound fruit seltzer beers all night on a warm weather weekend.
In Michigan it would be great, but think how bad it would be in think how bad it would be in Florida or Georgia.
Well, they can still celebrate it normally.
Normal time, yeah.
We'll do it different.
You do it, yeah. I was going to say because down Michigan. There, the last thing you want is pubescent age kids that don't shower enough yet that are already starting to smell, and they're out in these sweaty costumes down south in July, and it's like
BO and Axe body spray.
The whole thing gets a lot less cute when that's the vibe. I think we need to think about that. I don't think what happened with Uno has anything unserious program. I don't worry about that. Like that stuff doesn't make any. If you win, like what happens on the field will determine how serious the program you are. It's the fans will be there if you play well and you're winning consistently and you're not getting embarrassed. And I don't think.
And you could literally play Uno at any game.
Yeah.
Like no matter of how great the game is, because there's going to be dead spots in the time, right? Yeah. I don't know. Bill Corden, next. Number 1, I think we just have to accept the fact that we are a mid-tier school and enjoy the good times when they come. 2, the Lions. Damn. The Detroit Lions make it all better. And bonus, Ann Arbor ass clowns got beat. I love it.
I don't think you have to accept the idea that if you're talking Michigan State, that you're mid-tier school and enjoy the good times when they come. I think you can aspire for more. I think that's fine. I think, I don't think it. You should always aspire for more. If you're good with being mid-tier, whatever, but I think you should aspire for more.
Dang it, Bobby. Number 1, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana are all playoff caliber teams. Sucks to lose, but no surprise. And 2, another mediocre basketball season simply isn't acceptable. And 3, it's okay to loudly rip ass while pissing in a stadium trough. Wow.
I mean, it's not ideal.
Well, I mean, how loudly are you ripping ass? Are you doing it on?
I mean, it's better to do it there than while you're sitting next to somebody in the stadium itself, right? I mean, you'd rather do it in the bathroom.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a way to not loudly rip ass.
You're probably right.
You can pull your cheek, little half pull.
Sit on it.
Well, not, Jesus. What are you, a weirdo? No, just, lift cheek a little bit. And people don't want to hear you ripping ass, though.
No.
Maybe some people. A couple laughs or something. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Sports? Are we done? Steve Beckman. MSU should give coupons for 50% off football tickets or merchandise to any home fans that stay until the very end of a 25-plus point loss. If they did, I'd already have 2 this year, and I deserve something for my efforts. That's a great idea.
I do love this. This from Steve Beckman is the Muskox take of the day.
And make it 20 or under point loss, too.
It really, really sensible and strong on its own. Would be better if it was part of a herd, but very strong on its own. And
can you imagine, like in pro sports, though, if ownership did that, like the Tiger, when we were a complete ass, and it's discounted pricing for when you go to games? I don't see why that's
Well, and this is why it fits too. Muskox. I was reading this today at Earth.org. Muskox are intelligent, gregarious animals.
That's, you read that on Earth.org?
Earth.org. I was just reading about the muskox. I like to read about muskox. I like to know about...
I was just swinging through Earth.org.
Other thing.
Right next to teacups.org.
Lifespan of up to 20 years. Another thing that fits a muskox flannel, the durability and quality of a muskox flannel. Look good, feel good, make it part of your fall, make it part of your holiday gifts. Get ahead of it on your shopping. They've got new flannels for the fall. If you go to GoMuskox.com, you can see their latest offerings. They also have hats and tees. It's just some great offerings at GoMuskox.com. And the promo code, as always, Fix It in Post. Fix It in Post, all one word, for Couch and the Rube listeners. Yeah, no, why not have, you want goodwill with people after a game like that? If you got some sort of little something extra for your effort, something free, something to say, we appreciate you, that would be not a bad play.
Kevin from Rochester Hills. Number 1, MSU football lacks an identity. 2, helmet-to-helmet hits should be legal. And 3, Jonathan Smith looks lost and confused.
I don't think he...
totally agree with number 2, helmet-to-helmet hits.
Yeah, I don't think he looks lost and confused. I think he's frustrated, and he's taking it on the chin, and he's realizing...
I don't know. After that Michigan game, it looks like, man, what did I sign up for?
Yeah? You think that's his look?
No, not all the time, but he definitely had it for a second of like, wait, what? What's going on here?
So do you think if he had to go back to last December, he'd go, you know what, I'm going to stay at Oregon State?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
There's too much money here.
The helmets, yeah. What did you think of the Branch thing?
Again, I listen, I can see why they threw him out of the game. I just don't know why it came. Something like that comes from New York. I figured that's like a distance down kind of scenario. If you're going to toss the guy out, you better take your time and figure it out. But I can see the hit. I can see why it was considered that. I still think that we need to change the rule and not kick these guys out immediately. But that's, and Branch's reputation follows him sometimes. But
by the way, the lack of identity is 100% there. They don't have one. They haven't had one in a while.
Detroit Spartan number 1, John Smith is losing the fan base. He needs to get to 6 wins or show some things this offseason in terms of recruiting or portal, or he's going to fully lose it. 2, if Aiden Childs continues to show no improvement in the next 3 games, we need to find someone to challenge him. And bake take, Oregon hasn't even really played anyone. Ohio State is fraudulent.
You can think like this too with little pure options in your system.
Then what's Penn State?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if these teams aren't good, then is anybody good? Like Ohio State is not fraudulent. They fix some things. Like I love what they did with the offensive line, moving some guys around because they had a real problem there against Nebraska. I don't think they're great at the quarterback position. I don't even think Oregon's great at the quarterback position. But it's sometimes it's just there isn't any. I mean, true. The schedule is wait a second before I can comment on it. Oregon played Boise State, who turned out to be really good. Oregon's played people. I just disagree with you, Detroit Spartan, but I appreciate you.
C-Dubs, hot. MSU coaches are the best in the nation at game planning, worse at making adjustments. Hot. The defensive line would get more pressure if they rush more than 4 players occasionally. And baked. Leave a bowl of candy out at Halloween is lazy. Just turn off your lights and save money.
I never understood the leaving out a bowl of candy because it doesn't last very long. People are immediately going to grab a massive handful. And
it just proves you're right, I guess, that you know about humanity. It's just like people are going to come up and take 2 handfuls. You just want to, if you have a camera out there, and see who is going to do it.
So that would be the only way to do it would be sort of as some sort of humanity, some sort of project, right? So where you saw who reached in and sort of human behavioral science.
And then do what?
Stuff.
Tase the people that take 2 handfuls?
No, but you just know. You just know.
Open the door.
Which kids are? Which parents?
Shit, line those little bastards up. I can tell you which one's going to do it before they even come to the. Yeah,
really?
Oh yeah. No, I was one of them.
Well,
I know my own kind, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Back when I was doing it, there was no cameras at all.
Besides,
what are you kidding about?
Besides breaking a kid's arm for candy, what is the worst thing you've done while trick or treating?
I mean, that would be, but Jesus Christ. I mean, what am I, a serial killer? How would I have anything worse than breaking a kid's finger? I was not even that person. It just happened in the moment. I thought I was 15 and I thought I was a tough kid or something. I was trying to be someone I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
did you ever steal anybody else's candy?
No.
Like a young child?
No,
candy?
Fuck no. Why would I want to do that? This little kid was talking shit and it just seemed right in the moment. And I was just trying to set the tone for whoever I thought I was at the time. Like, if you would have told me, I didn't want to break the kid's finger. Just like push his face down in the grass or the mud or something.
I would love to know the tone that 15-year-old Jason was trying to set for who he wanted to be.
45-year-old Jason doesn't know still, but when I was 30 years ago, dude, I had no idea what was going on at that time.
Do you stare in the mirror in the morning and go, we got to get...
No, there was no staring at a mirror when I was 15. I was masturbating somewhere. There was no time to take any time to do anything other than that.
That's
anyway,
I was going to turn that into a story worth telling, but I really can't now. So we'll save that.
Oh yeah, because 15-year-olds don't masturbate.
I'm not saying I'm not saying 15-year-olds don't masturbate.
Don't shame 15-year-olds.
I'm not shaming the 15-year-old. I just don't want to tie masturbation to Midtown Brewing Company.
24-hour block of porn.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, can't tell you the excitement level. David Jackson, number 1, being jail sexed by the James Madison Hoosiers is an embarrassment. 2, by the end, I was left hoping for no Indiana injuries, as I want them healthy for the Michigan game. And 3, MSU's short yardage play calling is still ridiculous. How many slow developing 3rd and 1 yard to go delays for a 3-yard loss must we see before coaches try to play like fucking men and grind ahead for a yard when needed on a plunge up the middle?
Go out there, play hard, stick your cleats so far up their asses that they've got to use the cleats to brush their teeth with.
Hell yeah, David.
I like number 2 here because I think a lot of people, like I feel this way about Indiana too. I want to see what can Indiana football continue the magical year, and what I don't want to see happen is some injury that they can't overcome. Like I like to see them remain relatively healthy. How do they do against Ohio State? What does it look like against Michigan? Do they get into the Big Ten championship game? If they're in the playoff, I want them to be at their best now because first of all, I don't think there's no reason for anybody to hate Indiana, but it's such a great story, and obviously David has it for different reasons. He just wants to see Indiana pound.
Signetti keeps running that score up against people. People are going to start hating him. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is the one thing that. And look, Signetti's been a coach for a long time, and I'm not saying this is definitely going to come back at him, but people will remember that you ran it up on them. And that's what sweat equity is, and sometimes you get yours in years to come.
And you guys blow us out. That's what I would say.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's afraid of it.
Yeah. Nestle's Quick Hotel. I'll admit I said and tweeted some things in the heat of the moment Saturday, but even 24 hours of pure options and a Lions victory later, I'm sticking with my stance that Wild Childs is the best option at quarterback. In an ideal world, he'd be sitting behind a more experienced quarterback. And bonus bake take. It was nice bumping into Graham before the game. Little did I know it would be the highlight of the afternoon.
One of my favorite things is right away I recognize Nestle's Quick Hotel from his picture. You know what I mean? Like he's in a line waiting to get into the stadium and walking through. Like, oh my God.
Did you tap him on the shoulder?
I said, are you
Nestle's Quick Hotel?
It could have gone badly because I said, are you who I think you are?
Oh no.
And he said, he goes, yeah. I go, yeah. So
God, Nestle's
name's
quick.
Eric,
You could have
but
totally been like, fuck, dude, who are you? I don't know who you are.
It would have been funny if you played that differently.
Are you a weirdo? Get away from me, sir.
Yeah. Well, no, he said originally, hey, Graham.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
you're like Treese. You tell the most important part of the fucking story at the end of it.
It's bad.
And then I comment and I look like an ass.
Yeah, no.
I thought you went up to him. Are you who I thought you were?
Okay.
Nestle's Quick Hotel?
Another story that could have been worth telling if I told it correctly. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing with trivia on Tuesday nights. With a great date night, a great place to have a drink after work. Unbelievable. I'm telling you right now, like date nights, when I think of places to take Elizabeth or to recommend for people for date nights to have a quality meal in a place with character with a great menu. Your laughter is not helping me on my live read.
Are you fart soup?
Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. You can visit them on Facebook for their latest. You can see some of their food and their latest offerings and trivia nights and all that good stuff. I want to get to Nessie's point here though on the quarterback situation. This is something that's going to be interesting because as you pay for quarterbacks and you in this new NIL world where these guys can go anywhere, like you want Aiden Childs of the world, you want true sophomore quarterbacks to develop, and these guys want to go somewhere they can play because that's what develops them as NFL guys, not sitting at the college level. At least, most guys aren't going to want that. So there are a couple ways to think of this. One, if you're going to continue to want to get the best quarterbacks out there and you're going to ask them to sit as young quarterbacks, you're going to have to develop an NIL package where you got, hey, quarterback 1A is making $2 million. When you're still the backup, you're still making $1 million, and that's just how much it's going to cost because otherwise these ideal worlds just don't exist most places.
Chris Eastlick, number one, the MSU offensive line is one of the most curious things about this team. How can you steamroll Michigan and Iowa and not get a single push against Indiana? 2, Cignetti is not Tucker, but Mel showed you can strike lightning in a bottle with a good transfer class and some pieces. I think Cignetti will sustain to a point, but it doesn't mean Smith won't get it done. That being said, it'll be a big offseason to address needs. And bonus, Joel Klatt doesn't like early sunsets. Well, Joel, I don't like big games being at noon, but here we are.
Thank you, Chris. Good big noon slam. Yeah. You can't be the lead broadcaster on Big Noon and complain about, time of day and daylight savings. No, because you're already contributing.
Can't have an opinion on that.
You're contributing to the downfall of society as it is when you're taking part in Big Noon for sure.
And their broadcast. Shep, the Lions just went into Lambeau, missing their 2 all-pro level defensive players, overcame ridiculous officiating, and held the 6-2 Packers to 1 garbage TD that was heavily enabled by another suspect call. Bravo. Bake take. As much as I want to believe, I'm just not seeing it with Jonathan Smith.
Well, Shep, clearly based on these other takes, you're not necessarily alone there. We will get back. We will come back with more of your takes on Jonathan Smith, on Haller, on the Lions. We're about to hit a Lions stretch as well. Some good stuff. Couch in the Rue, presented by our friends at Pure Options, Precision Crafted Cannabis, and our Monday afternoon show, brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeeper's online casino and sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis. Go to pureoptions.com for location information, for deals, to sign up for their Pure Perks loyalty program. Have your Pure Options experience tailored just to you. And, of course, our Monday afternoon show brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Go muskox.com today and check out the new flannel fall offerings, as well as hats and tees. And of course, if you're a Couch in the Rube listener, the promo code FIXITINPOST for $15 off a flannel purchase. And for every flannel purchased, Muskox donates $5 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, and they give another $5 per show for our Muskox Take of the Day, which we already had. Telling you the quality, the comfort, you're going to look good. This is a good company. They treat people well. They care about the environment, and that's why they're such a good partner.
We already gave it away?
Us.
We gave away the thing?
Yeah, we gave away the thing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, where were you?
I don't know. I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, it. And if you've seen me in a Muskox flannel, and if you've seen me not in a Muskox flannel, you understand the difference. It is. I go from hideous to.
I'm surprised
Hallmark
more people.
quality.
They should buy them after seeing that, though. I'd be like, damn, Couch look good. It's got to make me look good.
I think it's the best advertisement.
It really is.
There is.
Yeah.
I mean, because like
I'm not even trying to joke.
I saw one of their other models in a. One of their other models. Come on, but one of their
a fellow model,
and the same cinnamon one that I really like. And anyway, he looked great, but I don't know what he looks like without the flannel on. Like, I really think the before and after pictures should be part of their promotion.
Put on a Frandor shirt, sir. Let's see what you look like for real.
Can you? Yeah, right. Do you have man boobs like me? Because that's what people want to know. And that's anyway. Go muskox.com, $15 off with the promo code FIXIT. In post. Before we get back into these hot takes, Ryan Schultz, who missed the deadline with his hot take, had one coming after me a little bit, said that listening live, I'm absurdly sick and tired of Couch's narrative that NIL funding dries up when Izzo leaves. If that's the case, fuck the donors. The fan engagement will still be there. If I hear one coach program again, my head will explode.
Don't coach my team.
Anyway, so he goes on a little bit more, but I've just been told over time that it's not like a guarantee the next person is going to have the same sort of relationships and ear of the donors. Now, maybe they will. And the other thing that's going to really help MSU, that's going to help a lot of other schools, is that all this is going to be paid in-house in about a year. Now, there will be outside donor money as well, which makes a difference. But to a certain degree, up to, 20-some million a year, probably 70% at least, it's going to football and men's basketball. is going to come in-house. So if the men's basketball program is probably going to be getting, I don't know, $3 million annually paid for in-house, and then you've got to get the rest of it outside of it. But everybody will have a little more, which may help, and I'll keep that in mind.
Why don't you write some?
Ryan, as I do my future takes.
David Murray, number 1, this is the best Lions team in 30 years. 2, if Aiden Childs does not need massive improvement, but if he doesn't improve by year 3, it could cost Jonathan Smith his job.
Best Lions team in 30 years. So 30 years was...
I was 15.
Yeah, they're more. I mean, so it's 1995 is the team. They're better. Yeah,
they're the best team I've ever seen in my lifetime.
More
than even going
years.
back for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the 91 team. I remember the 95 team that got hot when they were 3-6 and looked
coming
like a
off
Super Bowl
a
team. Yeah.
NFC Championship game, which we should have won.
This is it.
Alan Perlstein, David Montgomery is a great fourth quarter running back.
No doubt.
Graham must have left the rest of yours off.
No, I think that was it. He kept it tight. Probably should have led the show. This is what we like out of takes right here. He is a great fourth quarter running back. I mean, he's somebody you can. I mean, their ability to salt away a game is part of why they have a real chance to win this whole thing.
Eric Smith, best. I don't care how nice of a guy he is. Questions should be being asked about if Alan Haller is the right AD to lead this program. Bonus, outcoached by Sharon Moore, then blown out by Indiana. Proud moments for Jonathan Smith. Baked, that call on Brian Branch, especially the call from Vegas to eject him, oops, New York, is why people question the legitimacy of this league and its officiating. I mean, listen, the call, I could understand the call. When you watch the playback, do you really think that he did not, right? I mean, the intent, did he want to kill him? I don't think so. I don't know if you should be tossed for it.
It seemed like he could pull up. It seemed like it should have been a penalty.
But it is one of those things whenever we watch Lions game, at least in the years past, I've never seen that called before. I've never seen, in my 42 years of watching football, just to hear it all of a sudden come out like we started play again, and all of a sudden like, whoa, Brian Branch, you're out. It just seemed very, if you're going to toss a guy out like that, we need to stop the clock, talk about it. They stop the clock for fucking everything. You throw a guy out and you can't. Just weird. Curious. Travis Maynard, people mad at refs for ejecting Branch should be mad at Branch instead. Players must be smarter. A play like that can cost you a title. Better to learn now. Those comparing the hit to the others this weekend, you're dumb. Those were bang, bang. Branch had time to avoid and didn't.
It looked like he could have, yeah.
I can't argue that.
No, I'm not.
You have to be smarter. It's like when you see the lines, like, when the guy goes out of bounds, you're just like, do not do anything stupid. Because some of these guys will throw like a punch or something like that. It's like Puka Nacua. He got ejected for a punch yesterday. It's like, what are you doing?
You said about Branch, like he is the guy that you fear them losing most. Like he is the guy they think, and so like he needs to learn that there, and hopefully he does in a game they won anyway.
Mm-hmm. Ronnie McDonald, Jameson Williams has been listening to the show and ensuring he's suspended so he's healthy at the end of the year. Really smart guy.
I think Jameson Williams gets it. Other people don't. That's the thing. Everybody should be like Jameson Williams. He'll be the only healthy guy at the end of the year.
He's smart, man. Izzo's no longer got to go next. Lions just locked up the number 1 NFC playoff seed.
Having the tiebreaker against Minnesota and Green Bay so far with road wins is helpful, but it doesn't. There's still only a game up on 2-3 teams, but so it's not.
Just keep winning, baby.
Yeah, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. Next week's a big game in a certain way against the Houston Texans. Sunday Night Football. Houston's banged up. Like the Lions are favored in that game. If those are real opportunities to go down and
you got to get to Stroud though.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you have to. You cannot let him sit back there and throw it unless the weather's going to be shitty like it was in Green Bay.
Yeah, but I do not think Houston's that great a team right now. That's the thing. If you're the team you look like, you should go down there and win that game.
Eric Larson, Lions fan wearing the cheese grater hat at the game, won the day. And thank God for MSU basketball starting now. And thanks for the Lions.
Lots of distractions. MSU basketball, I think, came at the perfect time this year. The perfect time.
Until they play a game, and then Couch is like, Booker gets pushed around, and then we're back here all over again.
Well, it's on BTN Plus tonight, so nobody will even know what happens. Yeah, it's I know. One last BTN Plus game.
Big 10 Plus is ass.
Kurt Wisniewski, number 1, Childs and Marsh will be the lethal combo in every first quarter next year. Per Lindgren, the rest of the quarters, screw it. 2, the Lions. That's all. Now get an edge rusher. And 3, Juan Soto will be a Tiger.
Well, that would be fun. I would get excited. Like I'm waiting for the first big Tigers.
If fucking Juan Soto comes in here and Illich holds up the jersey with him, oh my God, I'd be so infuriated though.
Why would you be infuriated?
Because now, I mean, you sign Scooble.
Well, right.
I'm just saying, you're going to hand that kind of. I mean, you want $600 million. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's all. I'm not saying it. There's no salary.
I just hate
cap.
Chris Illich. All right.
Yeah, no, it's
Let me
fair.
have that.
He's got to do something.
That
This
will never go away.
Well, I guarantee he could change it. Right? If he started spending, it would change.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
Yeah. Pookie Bear next. Number 1, this Lions team is the best team in the league by a wide margin. I get the Chiefs are undefeated, but there's not a team who can beat you in more ways than this Lions team. 2, I'm 100% done with MSU football. They have to earn my time. 3 years of blowouts is enough.
And I'm not. People should do what they want with their own time, and I can understand watching the last 2 weeks and being like, "Is this really worth my Saturday and my emotional investment?"
Yeah, but you still got to watch football, though.
But the argument,
maybe not Michigan State.
You just can't pin it on the current regime because they don't get the last 2 years aren't them, right? And that's the thing you just got to remember as you're trying to emotionally compartmentalize.
We can separate.
I don't think so. I don't think that's not a strength. Separation and emotional maturity is not the strength of a fan base. Of any fan base.
Some, but the ones you pay attention to, maybe. No. I don't know. Tyler, how much money would Jason have if he just learned to fade Penn State? Good God, man. Well, thank God I didn't go heavy. Not many units put on Penn State on Saturday, but yes, I'd have some money. Back to State volleyball champ dad. Looking ahead, my thoughtful and nuanced opinion is that I'm putting my e-nuts on every media member's chin that bitches about the lack of students at the Friday night Purdue game. 4-6 versus 1-9 on a Friday night in late November. Who scheduled this shit?
And it's up against Silver Bells in the city in downtown Lansing. Like, I hope nobody's at the MSU game. I want the Big Ten to learn from this shit, that you aren't the only thing in this world.
It's the only way to catch their attention, right?
I mean, like,
right?
My mother, and I'm not saying my mother is every season ticket holder. My mother only keeps the tickets because my dad had the ticket and she likes going with people. My mom is not, she just wants to know what time the game's going to be and, wants to have a good time. And she really enjoyed being around happy Indiana fans the other day. So, like, she's not your quintessential. She's not writing into this show. However, she is somebody who goes to Silver Bells every year with friends. Like, that's a big thing she enjoys. They light up the tree, the state tree at the Capitol. It's a huge thing. There's, like, thousands and thousands of people down here. And the Big Ten's like, fuck it, we need another Friday night.
What is that accent?
That's Tony Petiti. And, so my
like 2 accents in one.
I do not root for negative things very often, but what I am rooting for is 0 people and everybody at Silver Bells, 0 people just to prove to the Big Ten you don't get to own the world.
All right. Russell B. Lions are able to recover and perform after setbacks and roadblocks. As of now, Spartans are not able to.
That's the difference between a good team and a not good team, right? I mean, it's when things didn't always go right for the Lions, they bounce back. And
that's why they say it can go either way.
Right.
Good season or bad season. You never know. Russell B. Read that. Yep. Richard Kane, number 1.
What?
What are we on? Russell B. I'm on Richard Kane.
Okay. So I sent you one that said updated. Use this one.
Richard Kane?
Nope. It's a whole different email.
Listener hot takes. Update. Use these.
Yep, that one.
That's what I've been using.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I don't like your accusations. Who are we at? Now I'm all fucked up.
No, it should be Mark Osterman, Therese, and Chris should be next.
I got Travis Maynard, Ronnie McDonald. Izzo's no longer got to go. Did I read that one?
No, you go ahead and
cheese grater guy.
You keep going, and I'll send
Richard Gain
updated one. No, you just keep going where you're at.
Do we need some off? Who are we on?
Give me some off.
All right, give me some off here. Peasy. Are we on Peasy?
Hold on. I'm resending you an email. This
Peacock. Mark Osterman.
Hold on. All right, just start with where this latest email comes in that says "Yo." What great podcasting this is!
I know. Well, it takes time to get over here.
I thought I copy and pasted the right one. Maybe somehow I didn't. I don't know what happened. I'm not blaming you.
I hope not. I'm glad you. Oh, here we go. It says "Yo." Mark Osterman.
Yep.
Can fix that in post. Mark Osterman. Graham, I have a bone to pick with your profession. How is it that the LSJ requires more legwork and sourcing on damn Connor Stallion story than the mainstream media does for any political type story? A sad state of things, and kudos to you guys for sticking to the old standard.
Yeah, we just have a better editor. We have standards.
Crushing it.
Yeah, that's what it is. There are lots of things out there that sometimes I go, boy, I would not pass the sniff test in the LSJ. Now, we also benefit from, if we had like 10 pro sports beats in our newsroom, we would get our ass kicked all the time because of our standards. Like, they would be too tight. Be like, guess they beat us again on that story. It's honorable, but it's also a pain in the ass.
You guys need to stop doing the 99 cents thing until you run into the $7.99 payment. It really annoys me. It wasn't you that did it. This one, it was the Athletic. It's like 99 cents, and all of a sudden I see $7.99 charged. I really got offended.
Yeah,
and I canceled.
The Athletic's just as bad as
I do like the Athletic, but I hate when you guys do that though.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, there's a $14.99 charge. Like, you got over on me, but now I'm going to cancel and never fucking read this again.
There are lots of things that I should be hired to do. Probably not be a columnist. Number one. Number two, if I ran the logistics for any organization, they would save millions on travel. Wow. And number three, if I ran your customer service, you'd have a better experience with people. These are the things that I'm just saying. These are the things I understand. I don't understand how to put an opinion together or frame a decent story. The fact that you're listening to this podcast and I'm reacting to these takes as poorly as I am.
At least you're self-aware, though.
Self-awareness is another strength.
Yeah. Therese and her weekend highlights. The Staffords as Taylor and Travis was bizarre and seemed desperate. Lions fan in the crowd with a cheese grater hat. I like what you did there. No surprise onside kicks. What is this bullshit?
Oh, did Therese just find out that you can't do the surprise onside?
Absolutely, because it has nothing to do with fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why she doesn't know. She only knows about her fantasy football players and how great the Lions are, and her Bears suck. That's what she knows about the NFL.
I got to say, there was an onside kick in the Vikings game last night, the last one, that was the best kick I've seen in a while. They didn't get it, but it was like really well executed on both ends.
But he didn't get it.
Well, the Colts didn't get didn't actually get it, but it was a great actual kick. One of the best kicks I've seen in a long time.
One of the best kicks you've never seen get recovered.
So I didn't see the Staffords when it's Taylor and Travis.
Kelly Stafford seems like a nice person, but she wants to be famous desperately, and she uses her husband, Matt Stafford. She's in commercials, and then she does this podcast that is just, I don't know how many people listen to it, but it gets people because she says off the top of her head shit, and she ripped on Taylor Swift or something, and then she felt like she had to come back. I don't know why I know all this stuff. I know this stuff because of my wife. No, I do not. There's no way I could sit through that shit. I know she has a podcast.
And Therese listens.
No, not at all. I just was saying, it's just curious watching her on these commercials for the Sleep Number bed with Matt Stafford, and it's just like, Kelly, I get it. You want to be famous, but it's just, why can't you just be a good mom to your daughters and be a school mom and be into that shit? And it's like, videoing, like when they took a private plane to their daughters to take them to a Taylor Swift concert. It's like, just have that for yourself. You got to put that on Instagram. We get it. You're rich as fuck, but I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Chris, next. I have absolutely no problems with Peacock as a streaming service because it provides reliable apps, decent on-demand streaming options. Even the commercials for a paid service are crazy, and it's a fair price. Big Ten Plus, literal garbage and should be wiped from existence.
Yeah, Big Ten Plus is...
Big Ten Plus is ass.
The problem I have with being critical here is, unfortunately, Big Ten Plus is run by students.
And you can't charge that much per month if you're going to have students. I'm down with students learning.
Correct.
But you better give me a mother effing discount if I'm going to have to deal with it.
If this was
your product is ass.
If this was a $3.99 a month
go
deal.
Lower. $2.99.
$2.99. Either way, it's student run. Right. Student run. It's fine that they get it.
Yeah.
If you're putting on the air things that otherwise we wouldn't get. Now, I do understand that you've got to pay for certain things, but this should be part of the student experience. Part of this is, I'm with you.
And then you make me sit through ads too. I love paying for an app, and then I have to sit through ads.
And it's just not quite user friendly enough. I get it because I really root for it. I love the idea of Big Ten Plus and the fact that a lot of events that wouldn't otherwise be broadcast are available to people, and the people doing the production and the broadcasting are students who are training to do that in real life. I love all that. You just gotta especially with that level of functionality, you got to come down.
Came up with the pricing, dude. Richard
Probably
K.
the LSJ people.
Exactly.
Hey, we know the price.
99 cents for 4 months, and then it's $79.99. Richard K. Number 1, Cal Halliday is a liability. I expected much better from a senior like him. Has he made a single meaningful play this season? And 2, fewer than 12 targets to Marsh in a game is coaching malpractice. And 3, maybe it's time we start talking about a fourth phase of the game, coaching. Opposing staffs consistently beat Jonathan Smith and company in this phase. I'm still comfortably seated in the Smith bandwagon, but I see a couple warning lights on the wagon's dashboard.
I think that's an appropriate way to put it. You didn't like what you've seen the last couple games, and there are reasons you go, what is that?
But is it a low tire warning or an engine light? Am I right?
Well, there are varying things. I usually ignore them. Do you ignore them? Do you put tape over where it is?
Yeah, my old cars, but the one I have now, no way, man.
Yeah, I would not.
Fuck yeah, just you pray, it just goes away. Somehow it fixes itself. I've had those cars. Peasy, Malik Beasley has been a quietly nice pickup for the Pistons. Nice to have a shooter that can actually shoot.
Won again last night.
Malik Beasley. Oh, fuck. Bonus, hard to keep perspective after seeing MSU get trounced like that. A bowl game would be considered a success, but Saturday was a gut punch.
Yeah, my question I really wonder is how people will feel if, say, they win 2 of their final 3. And they're competitive in all 3. They're playing weaker competition. 2 of them are at home. Like, will the way you feel now dissipate about this season? I think there have been a couple moments in the season that are going to linger, and I think Saturday and the previous week are 2 of them.
Sunshine Spartan number 1, MSU will only win 1 more game. Seriously, 47 straight points. 2, the Oregon uniforms are complete ass. They should at least have one of the school's colors. And 3, the continuation of wussification of football occurs in Green Bay versus Detroit game. Brian Branch hit was amazing. Well, it was amazing, but is it legal?
Yeah, I don't know if trying to avoid having, junior Seau's is wussification. I just don't. I mean, that's what they're trying to avoid, right?
Yeah, because how many football players shot himself in the chest?
Well, Dave Duerson, too.
Did he shoot himself? I mean, you know what I mean? But you act as if it's like a...
well, there's a lot of guys...
Keep bringing up Seau, and he's an extreme case.
I mean, Brett Favre, shit. There are a lot of guys, I don't know. I think
Aaron Hernandez.
I don't mind
where you want to go.
Avoiding the head injuries in football. I don't think that's a wussification. I think that's helping keep the sport alive and getting because
it's just one of those back in my day things that the 80s you can watch guys get killed on the field.
It was an awesome hit, but it was.
It's not legal.
Correct.
DMB number 1. Big Ten fans are vindicated by Zach Edey's foul stats in the NBA. 2, Saturday was the first time I questioned the future under Jonathan Smith. It can't look like that. And 3. 6-6 Michigan State versus 6-6 Michigan at the Motor City Bowl for a rematch. Book it. Oh, God.
Can you imagine that?
I can't imagine the complaints from Couch, though, having to cover that.
Well,
you would try to get out of that, wouldn't you?
You can't do something right after Christmas that's going to ruin Christmas, because that just the lead up would ruin Christmas for everybody. So they can't do that.
Dude, I'm almost rooting for this.
It would ruin Christmas. And the other thing is, you talk about you talk about ways that Michigan behaves a little smug and entitled. Michigan would never agree to that.
No,
would never in 1,000 years.
And rightfully so.
The Motor City Bowl.
What accent is that?
That's the aggregation of all the Michigan athletic directors over the years.
Oh. Matt C., this is what Alan Haller's response should have been at the podium with the entire media there. I find the ruling disturbing from the Big Ten because you were talking about a program in Michigan that continues to show signs of lack of institutional control. Under Ward Manuel's leadership, you've had a basketball player smash a car into a telephone pole and lie to police. Hire a coach who physically assaulted another coach. A football player play straight out of prison on a gun charge. A player make anti-Semitic remarks. A coach fired for marking racist tweets. An OC get raided by the FBI for computer crimes. A former coach currently serving a show cause for lying to the NCAA while under investigation for one of the biggest cheating scandals in NCAA history.
It would not be good for Michigan State if Matt C. was the athletic director, but it would be entertaining this week. I would pay to see it for 1 week.
Have Haller read that? Matt C. could be his script guy.
Matt C.'s behind just nodding.
I got to say, though, I did ask, and I mean, that's what I'm asking for. It's like, well, what did you want Alan Haller to say? And okay, if that's what you want him to say, I mean, that will never happen, but I can understand you wanting him to say that. I mean,
that would be the most satisfying remark that could be said. And yeah, right.
And then drop a mic. Oasis Dog 97. Smith needs to win out and turn the 25 recruiting class around, or we'll be doing a coach and AD search in 2 years.
So the one thing that when people talk about the Alan Haller criticisms, I mean, Alan Haller knows he's tied to Jonathan Smith to some degree. Like, I think he's done a really nice job with certain things in athletics, and I think it's a difficult time to be an AD. Like, you're trying to answer to a lot of different people, and you're trying to figure out how this new world is going to operate and how you're going to fund it all. And I think he's made some promising coaching hires, and obviously the argument with the Adam Nightingale being the top of that. But football coaches matter, and if you hire a losing football coach over time, that's so. The other thing is, since he's tied, I mean, Alan Haller really wants Jonathan Smith to succeed, and you should really want Jonathan Smith to succeed because, again, this isn't going to be a 2-year and then oops type deal. If for some reason he's not the guy or this isn't a fit. And again, I don't think there's evidence that it's not. I think there's evidence that this year isn't a lot of fun, and there are some moments that maybe you question in game some of their decisions. But the idea that they can't build a program over time, there's zero evidence of that, because the only evidence we have with most of this staff that they can is what happened at Oregon State when they did it. So you can question the ceiling there, you can question a lot of things, but the idea that they won't eventually get it going, I don't think is fair to question yet, and they are going to have time to do it.
Scott, you next. Number one, Peacock and Big Ten Plus are frustrating. I was in downtown Indianapolis Saturday for a concert, and beforehand, the 2 sports bars I went to did not have Peacock to watch the game. 2, the SEC got a better deal with ESPN, even though it's less money. One network that's focus is to make money, but also 100% about providing the best product in the best windows, unlike Fox, CBS, and NBC, who only care about their time slots.
So Peacock is on more and more bars. You're seeing it more places, and they should be able to get it on most places because so many bars understand that they are now, be it Premier League soccer, be it
do they
pro or be it
do they
college
understand
sports.
most bars
around here? Yeah, we've called them. Yeah, they get it.
Okay.
It was a pain for a while when it wasn't available. Like that was a big problem a year ago, is that you couldn't get Peacock on the packages that bars subscribe to.
I'm just more importantly talking about getting the games on no matter what it's on.
Well,
that's what I
the
mean.
BTN Plus is frustrating. It shouldn't be, and I get that this is just Monmouth, Michigan State on a Monday night to open the season, but people are fired up for that, and I don't understand why Thursday night's games on regular BTN and tonight's can't be.
But is there a way for me just to pay $2.99 to watch the game
for
tonight?
the game? I don't believe so.
I understand. I know there's not. That's what I'm saying. Right. But if they would make it that to where I don't have to all of a sudden log in and do all this shit and sign up for your BS that I don't want to use because you want to try to hoodwink me into signing up for a 6-month thing, go F yourself. Let me pay $2.99 to watch the game tonight.
My big problem is usually I have to log in every time. The login process is not great with it too. That's the
betting apps have gotten a lot better at that. Where my Face ID, you can log in fast to that kind of stuff. So you can't tell me that there isn't a way to do it.
Yeah.
Fart Soup, number one, Couch posting the call for Twitter questions on midnight of a Thursday, and then having an 8 a.m. deadline is total ass. I'm 3 hours behind, man. I need more time. I got questions and I need answers.
That's fair, Fart Soup. I don't think
Fart Soup, is that you?
I don't think if I had the 8 a.m. deadline, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to do it that
daylight savings time.
Yeah, I don't think I left that in there. But yeah, it was noted. It was a Halloween night, and it was I had other things on my mind.
All right, some dude. Number one, Couch declared himself to be a good headline writer on the last show. I had a flashback to Bobby Ross declaring himself a good coach. Same vibe. 2, Couch. Why wouldn't you or anyone else investigate the alleged stomping incident? It seems too fishy to just let go, and I know you're not a Spartan Slappy, but I also know you are an advocate for justice. Izzo would ask you why you didn't write something. # Blue Wall Couch.
Well,
Why don't you write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
If the victim isn't going to come forward, and they're not going to stick up for themselves, my job is not to do MSU's work for it. If MSU continued to raise a stink about this or said, we don't feel this is right, we understand it is what it is, at that point, maybe it's still a story. But MSU, I'm not. If MSU isn't going to do that at least that much, then I'm not going to. I just don't think it's worth. I just don't think it's worth it, to be frankly. I'm not. It's not just that I lose interest. I lose interest in lots of things I cover, but I didn't mean it like. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. Like, you probably don't know what I mean, but that anyway. MSU's got to. If MSU was keeping this alive, it would still be a story, and they're not. So, and they're not going back at Michigan for their response to it, and so I've reached out to Khalil Mullins, and I've not heard from him, and obviously we're willing to interview him, and it wouldn't be just be it would be a legitimate interview of him. Like, I'd want to know the details that they haven't shared on why it doesn't appear he's helping people. And so where he was actually helping people, what was he doing in that moment that looks like he's stepping on people? What is actually happening there, and how is it happening? And I think that's a completely fair question that has never been answered.
G.E. Miller, number 1, Spartan football is in the danger zone. Team gave up. Coaching has been suspect. Worst offensive and defensive lines in the Big Ten in years. Roster's bad, but only one top quarterback, 1,000 recruit this year, with 1 decommit and 0 new commits in 3 months. Number 57 ranked class and no NIL momentum. Where's the hope? And 2, Rourke versus Childs answers the question. Is it better to spend money on an experienced, high-performing, but physically limited quarterback who knows how to read defenses, or a young, physically gifted quarterback who does not know how to read defenses? Give me Rourke every day.
Again, the one thing that's being overlooked here is the line. The line of scrimmage, very different that those two guys are dealing with. And Indiana, had an offensive line, and they did bring in a couple transfers there, but also had a really good group coming back. Some guys they had to convince to stay, but that was a veteran group, and I know they lost some guys last year, but that's a real advantage that they seem to have that Michigan State did not coming in and really just hasn't been able to fix as a program. But if you put Rourke behind Michigan State's offensive line, I don't think he'd look that good. He was a good player at Ohio. He was not a great player at Ohio. He was never the player he's been at Indiana, and I think that has a lot to do with the coaching around him, but I think it also has a lot to do with the personnel in front of him, and I think that's something there.
Bo McJunkins, number 1, I'm fine with Saturday, even though we lost recruiting is going well. Oh, wait, we're 49th in the country and have no buzz for a first-year coach. But hey, at least we're recruiting more Ohio guys that don't wear armbands or gloves. 2, someone get the offensive coordinator some depends, because I'm tired of watching this guy diarrhea down his leg after the first scripted drive of each game. Does this dude hit the pure options in the booth? And 3, MSU should immediately send out NIL emails after that game, but there's a problem. We don't know who the fuck is in charge or what collective is best 4 years into this shit.
Well, there are 2 collectives, and one is the Spartan Nation NIL, and the other is the This Is Sparta NIL, which has some football players. Most of the football team is the Spartan Nation NIL. But you're right. I don't think the communication is great on that. I think they do lack there. You don't hear, one of the things I like about my mother still having in tickets is that I know the email she gets and that season ticket holders get, and like the stuff that she ought to get, she would never give to NIL. What is this? But that should be asked, because there are people that would help, or at least there should be more communication and how it works. And this is a moment where you could say to people, hey, this isn't great, stay with us, but this is part of what we need to get there is support. Now, you can push people. The other people might look at you after a game like that and say, screw you, I don't think you got the right people in place. But it's not the worst time in the world to ask, even if it sometimes seems like it is.
Beppe Plum, next. Number 1, is there anything cooler than a sign language interpreter at a rap concert? Seeing the lady act out skeet skeet motherfucker was classic. Also, sweat fall from my balls. Lady, you don't even have testicles. And 2, on my non-burner account yesterday, I got a like by Donald Trump. Meh. And a repost by Elon. It was a very intelligent post, believe it or not. I should be written into their wills, shouldn't I?
The end of election season is going to be.
I got a call from Donald Trump today.
Did you?
Yeah,
I've not gotten anything really from him. I think he knows. He knows it does.
Was that right?
He's wasting time. I get a lot from Liz Cheney and people like that. And anyway,
lucky you.
Yeah.
Couch on Fire, number 1, just totally embarrassing. John L. Smith level stuff. 2, no expectations for this MSU basketball team and possible 5th year of meh. Hard to believe from Izzo. 3, cheese grater head broke the internet. I got to say, I have not seen it.
I haven't either.
Okay.
But Therese did, right? It was her. It was part of her.
She had less pure options than I did.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I think there's some expectations for this basketball team. I mean, it's not a year where – I think last year is one of those years that sort of breaks expectations for the following year. Like, you're so disappointed and it was a big expectation year that it's sort of – you get eh. So I think last year is hinders this year's expectations a little bit, but it doesn't have to be a meh year. It doesn't, and I don't necessarily think it will. It could be. It could go either way.
Hans Jurgen, number 1, I want the lines that played against Iowa back. 2, I think Aiden Childs has accuracy problems thrown to the left. And 3, Spartans should not turn on Jonathan Smith after seeing what Cignetti is doing at IU. Smith couldn't bring the whole Oregon State team to EL. He's building for the long term.
Hans with reasonable. What are we doing here? No, I appreciate it, Hans. Yeah, we've talked a lot about this on this show, but I think year ones can be deceiving. I think what Cignetti's doing is incredible, but again, you can be prisoners of the moment, and I'm just not going to be somebody who's a year from now looking like a dolt because I was harping on a coach without fully understanding everything they were up against 2 years earlier, right? And so right now, like, there's no doubt what Cignetti is doing is impressive. The last 2 weeks from Jonathan Smith and his staff have not been inspiring. That is just about a blanket fact.
All right, Jake Hawkins, number 1, never would have thought I'd see the day where Indiana football is in a better place as of now, so much so that they put an ass whooping on that made fans leave early. I really like the stern, unsatisfied look on Kirk Cignetti's face when Indiana was up comfortably by 30 points. 2, SOL, same old Lions just might be dead. Against the elements, the ass refs, and the league office. What an impressive win at Lambeau Field by the Lions, but despite this, they still need to make a trade for an edge rusher ASAP, or I just might drop a chair like Mike Valenti. 3, James Franklin will forever be a snake oil salesman and choke artist. He let a golden opportunity slip away in Happy Valley.
It's weird. You know how earlier you didn't have the updated hot takes? There are parts of these that I edited that are still in here that I edited out, and I don't really understand it. I don't know what the hell happened.
How confusing.
I'm very confused. Same old Lions is definitely dead. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You just can't. You can't even. I mean, they're the best team in football. You just can't use it. Mm-hmm. It's that is what it is.
It's gone forever.
It's gone forever. Yep. Same old Spartans. Yeah. Here's what I would say about that, because I know people that touches a nerve. I think when you have the run that they had for 6 years under D'Antonio, like, that's also part of the same old Spartans. So what does same old Spartans even mean? Because I think that sort of got rid of that too. That was I don't think that works.
And finally, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Number 1, daylight savings time was created by the sleep aid industry. 2, playing 3 top 10 teams in the first year of a rebuild is amazing. And 3, we don't check the refrigerator multiple times to find new food. We check to see if our standards have dropped enough to eat what was available.
Profound thoughts from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy. That is very true. That's usually
that's deep.
What happens. And sometimes we just had a little more pure options in us, and so all of a sudden we think
Graham seems to like everything every time he opens it.
That sounds good. Let's
have
impossible. That. Yeah. If you don't like what you have in the fridge, let Pure Options help you. You won't need to go grocery shopping because you've already got something that's absolutely amazing. Go to pureoptions.com, find the location nearest you. If you're still listening to the show, Lord help you. I hope you got Pure Options in the system. Again, pureoptions.com, locations Detroit, Muskegon, 3 in Lansing, Mount Pleasant. We appreciate Muskox flannels. If you want to look not like me, if you want to look like your best self, you feel like your best self, enjoy this fall while looking good, go to gomuskox.com, use the promo code Fix It in Post for $15 off your flannel purchase. We appreciate Midtown Brewing Company. We'll be back Wednesday. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.